Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This channel has an educational mission, and that is to turn you on to a lot of stuff that you otherwise won't know about. Jewels and nuggets that I had to really dig for to uncover properly. You know, you see it in the ground, but you really have to get all of it out. And mostly stuff that's been suppressed, that somebody buried down there in times past. And this is a segment that we have called Your Blind Side, where I talk about the info war, the war between the patriots and the globalists, and I try to, uh, have the back of the patriot diggers, anons, truthers out there who may not be able to see the big picture as they are ensconced in their rabbit holes. And yeah, so it's a slow weekend, the weekend before the big holiday, and a lot of the patriots are on their various meetups or whatever, and the weekend is always a little bit slower. And I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, but it's a lot more of the same, not intended for you, but intended to outrage other people who may be snoozing. And, kind of redundant and even like a kick, you know, uh, in the pants for you, um, because of how obvious and absurd and ridiculous the things that you're seeing on your screen and hearing through your podcasts are, through your news feeds. Um, and as also the World Cup is going on here, and I did want to talk a little bit about sports, but it's not the World Cup per se. We might get there eventually, but it has to do with this Caitlin Clark thing. And it really it has to do with the WNBA. We have this woke league that is really trying to push lesbian, transgender, DEI, and it's so obvious that they're trying to suppress Caitlin Clark and that she's one of the best players in the league. I don't really watch it, but I watch some of the drama, and she's one of the best players in the league, and she is the most impactful player in the league because she brings butts into the seats. She, for whatever reason, because of her brashness and her game, she and probably her demographics, she uh, is the attractor of a great audience. People want to go see her, and like the Indiana team, they literally had to move to a larger stadium or larger arena to accommodate the demand for her. She double and it also um, transfers to the road when she's the road player. The other teams have huge attendance on the nights that they play Indiana. And the league is basically shooting themselves in the foot because they're really trying to show Caitlin Clark the door. They're they're allowing the other teams to rough her up with dirty play and really to try to injure her. And I think they took a promotional thing for the WNBA, and they didn't put her on it. Um, they put a bunch of other people on it. They're always trying to promote their lesbian, transgender, and minority people, and this white heterosexual, um, you know, gets treated like, you know, um, you know, discriminated against. And this just, it does remind me a little bit of when the tables were turned 30 years ago or 30 plus years ago, when Tiger Woods came onto the scene of the golf scene. And the golf has got the country clubs. A lot of the country clubs were even restricted still at this time. And it was an elitist game. And, you have to be quiet and whisper. And, you know, uh, it's a gentleman's game. There's a lot of etiquette that you have to follow. And um, the golf, the management, the whoever, the league or whatever you call it, PGA, they were like, you know cringing because Tiger Woods was dominating. He was winning some tournaments by like double digit, amount of strokes. And even in the major tournaments, he was making everybody look bad. And it kind of looked like this situation here with Caitlin Clark, that they're going to kind of like kick their cash cow and try to uh, get this person out of the PGA because he's upsetting the status quo of the league, and the good old boy network. But at a certain point, the league kind of figured it out. They were like, this dude's bringing in a ton of money. We're all making more money now. You know, the prize money at our tournaments is increasing because there's just greater interest. People people love watching a sensation, really, regardless of race, sex, or otherwise. And so the league really figured it out that, hey, we can embrace this guy. He's not what we've come to expect. He goes against some of the norms that we might have established, but he's uh, he's an overall positive for us. He benefits the golf league. We all profit from having him around. And so I really don't think that, and he's black too. So, that was another thing. But now the tables are turned, and it's like the black people who are discriminating, and the transgenders and the lesbians who are discriminating against the white heterosexual. And for some reason, I don't think they're going to learn their lesson. I think they're going to allow themselves to destroy, and they're going to destroy themselves um, with this league. So, but maybe there's a chance that at a certain point they'll figure out, hey, you know what? Our league does a lot better um, because she's in it, and we owe her a little bit of gratitude for that, and we should treat her fairly. Now, the other thing is the World Cup, and I think so far, other than the old strikers, scoring a ton of goals, the same people, and that's the key to soccer is you got to have somebody who's a killer, who's, when they get a chance, they put the ball in the net. Because there's a ton of good players out there, but then when you give them an opportunity to and a shot that, you know a good shot scores a goal, they flub it. There's a few handfuls of players in the world that are like assassins, that you give them a shot and they're going to convert it more often than not. Most of them, it's like 1 out of 10 or something like that. And so if you have a guy like that, France has like multiple guys like that, you are in really good shape. Um, but other than that, I think like one of the main stories is the African teams. I believe 10 African teams qualified, and 9 out of the 10 made it to the next round. Now, they're all probably going to be either uh, they're not going to be favored in this round. Maybe Egypt is because they only play Australia. Um, and a couple of the other teams have a fighting chance. Senegal is playing Belgium, and Belgium hasn't been playing that well. But the other part of it is that all of the European teams and the North American teams are filled with African players too. Um, because of all the immigration. And in this case, mostly in Africa, I mean, there is Islam, but most of these people are Christians. You see them crossing themselves when they come into the game. Um, and so it is a slightly different brand of immigrant. But, they, maybe that's why one of the reasons why these European countries allow all these third worlders to come in is because it's going to improve but I mean, you look at Canada, United States, um, Belgium, Switzerland, Netherlands, France, and even Germany, and even Spain and Portugal, um, England, especially England. These teams have a ton of African players on their team. Um, and so there's just a lot of African, uh, like 20, 30 years ago, you would have never seen this. Um, so anyway, like, share, subscribe, comment, contribute, and come back um, for another episode uh, of Your Blind Side. And remember to watch your blind side. Have a great day.